Hello everybody, and welcome to another segment of Marcy Fine Art. And thank you so much for the response to my last video on lights and darks and how to make things look more realistic. So I want to continue along those lines, and this is kind of odd, but this is one of the most fun exercises I think I ever did when I was learning to draw. So I hope you have fun with this too. And it's more on how to draw more realistically and how that works. So I'm going to say you got to look at things backwards. We call this negative space, and it helps you see more accurately. You're going to be looking at shapes and angles. And this is such a great tool to use. It's a pencil, it's always in your hand. The eraser, also very important to use this when you're doing this exercise. So let's take a quick look at how this works. I would suspect that in your house we all have a chair. Now, instead of drawing the chair, we are going to be drawing the spaces in and around the chair. So essentially we're seeing it backwards, or we're seeing the negative, like a photo negative. So you can see here how we did this. What we're looking at is this shape, see these shapes, that shape, those are shapes, this shape. So we're not thinking of the chair as a chair, we're thinking of the shape in and around this chair, which is called the negative shape. And if you don't want to call it that, just think of it as seeing it backwards, seeing it like a photo negative. So let's take this a little bit further and see how we do this to make it easy on ourselves. So this is a chair. Now I chose to try this with a stool because stools have such fascinating shapes. So I took a photo. Let me make sure you can see this. Let's start with this photo. I took a photo of my a stool, my kitchen stool. And I want you to note, look at how I placed this. I placed it against a white background or a light colored background so I could see these interior shapes more clearly. If you put it up against something else like your furniture, you're going to not be able to see these. It's really important to see the shapes. So that's what I did. I took a picture of this. Then I just, I printed it out in black and white because I don't want to be distracted right now by color. So at that point, now I have this that I printed off on my printer, and I did this exercise, and I just absolutely love this. It just comes out so cool. That's an artist for you. So I'm looking over here, and now how do I start and see this shape as accurately as I can? Well, first of all, and you may or may not want to do this, I looked, how many shapes am I looking at? 1, 2, 3, there's this big one, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this little guy is really essential, 8. He's right in here. And then between the legs, 9, 10, and the shape all the way around there. So you could call that 11. So I recall how I started. I started up here with shape number 1. So how do I make sure shape number 1 is accurate? So I'm looking over here at this shape. I start looking at angles. What do the angles look like? So let's look at this piece of paper. This angle is like this. See me lay my pencil on that? And the angle at the top is a little bit more like this. So I'm actually looking at angles. And if I draw it, I'll feel myself draw the angle. So how this one actually is going a little bit like this. It's not up and down, it's like that. So as I'm drawing these, quote, boxes, because that's what these are, they look like boxes, I'm really attending to how the angle looks inside the box. See how they're not, I'm looking, if I were to look straight across, that straight across would look like this, or straight up and down. So I'm comparing how angled is that to a straight line. And that's what teaches me how to see these boxes as accurately as possible. How far off of straight up and down are these boxes? And even like the bottom, the leg, what's that angle look like? It looks like this. It does not look like this. It looks like that. So, and then your center box, that's almost straight up and down. I can see it here, straight up and down. And yet this one's a little bit, comes out a little bit to the side. Now, while you're doing this, you're going to be frustrated because the boxes won't all fit together, so you instantly have this really cool stool. That's where, see, I almost don't have an eraser left. It's because I use it all of the time. And allowing yourself to do this and make lots of mistakes will bring you to making this stool look like an actual stool. Now, if I were going to sit down and draw a stool, I might do this. Or something like this. I might try to, what I'm doing here is trying to draw a stool. I mean, and in our last video, we talk about when you draw, that's so terrible. When you try to draw something, what you're drawing is what you have in your brain, because your brain has registered a symbol of a stool. Well, a stool looks like this. It's got a top and it's got 4 legs, but that's your symbol. It really doesn't look like what you're seeing. To draw something as you're seeing it means you have to let go of your symbol and start seeing the shapes that your eyes are actually seeing. So, bye-bye symbol. Bye. See how horrible I would draw a symbol? And hello to actually seeing what these shapes look like and how they fit together, kind of like a neat puzzle. And you will be shocked at yourself if you do this, at how accurately you will become able to draw pretty much anything. Even, you know, shapes like this. So let's go back and review what we just talked about. We are learning to see, quote, backwards. We're not looking at actually the legs of this stool. We're looking at it backwards. We're seeing the shapes inside the object, which is called the negative space. It helps us see accurately. You're looking at the shapes themselves. You're looking at angles. So how is this angle occurring? And again, to do that, I took a photograph. You can do it of a chair. You can do it, stools are more challenging. And I printed it in black and white so as not to be distracted by color. And I put it up against the stool, a white space in my house or a light space, so I could actually see these shapes. So that's today's really fun little challenge, and you all can do it. Don't be afraid to use your good friend, this eraser, because trust me, these will not all be correct when you try to put together. Mine weren't. There's eraser marks all over this. And finally, these outside shapes here too. From here to the top, what's that angle looking like? So looking for those negative shapes. And have fun with this. And shock your friends at how accurately you can draw, because you can do it. It's a skill. Drawing is a skill just like any other skill. You can learn it and have a good time. If you have questions, drop me a note in the comment section of this YouTube video, and I hope you're having fun with these. I'm having a lot of fun presenting them. Enjoy, and I'll see you soon. This is Marcy with Marcy Fine Art, signing off.